John Bowden, Rock History Music. Jerry Mercer. I saw this yesterday. I went, oh no. No, I thought it was Monday. I thought his birthday was Monday. But we kind of screwed up a little bit. The bottom line is, let me just put this down. This always happens. I don't know why this always happens. Um, Better late than never. Better late than never because Jerry, along with Richie Henman of April Wine, were such an influence on me. In the beginning, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, in the beginning when I first heard You Could Have Been a Lady, which will be mentioned in this beautiful little presentation we put together for Jerry, when I heard You Could Have Been a Lady, I remember going, I don't know how whoever the drummer is, I don't know what he's doing. You know, with the Could Have Been a Lady. I'm going, how do I do that on drums? Like I'm not even think I'm doing. I haven't heard it in a little while to study the drums. But when I was a kid, I was just doing my very best to try to figure out. Hi, John. Hi, Mark Burchett. How you doing, buddy? So then I found out that Richie and well, I didn't know David had left, but I found out that Richie, the drummer, was gone. Someone told me, "Oh, that drummer you like so much in April Wine, he's gone." I went, "Oh, what happened to him?" And in the days of not having the internet, we'll put the presentation on in a second. I hope you like it. In the days of not having the internet, we didn't know. So Richie Henman was gone. I'm going, what's going to happen to April Wine now? Well, they got a different type of drummer. And I always equate this, the Richie Henman days, and we'll have an interview with Richie coming up. We've completely finished it. We've the original drummer of April Wine. We have a complete interview with David Henman, his brother, coming up, talking about the early days of April Wine, and an interview with Jim Henman, their cousin who played bass only on the first album, but still he was a big part of starting that band, him and David Henman. We're going to have that coming up. But I equate the Richie Henman thing to Jerry Mercer thing as opposed to just apples and oranges. They're very different types of drummers. Where Jerry is just this powerful, big guy who, on first glance, you'd think, well, he's a Hell's Angel, isn't he now? I had a chance to sit down with Jerry in 2000. Hold on, where's my picture? I'll show you. There I am with. There, look at that big, gentle, giant guy. I tell you. And there's a picture of me and the late Jim Clench. This is in the year 2000. And there I am with Miles Goodwin. And there I am with Brian Greenway. It was a great interview. It was a lot of fun. Let me get to, Brian Gervais. Hey, John, how you doing? Mark Burchett, happy birthday, Jerry. Thank you, Mark. And Alex Knight. Hey, John, April Wine was not big in America for some reason. Not big in the majority of America, but big in the south, in the northern states, in some cases. And they did incredibly well. I'm going to wait for a few more people to come on. It is Sunday night, but I didn't want to wait till Monday because his birthday was this weekend, was yesterday. Jerry Mercer. When I saw Jerry Mercer, I never saw Richie Henman in concert, the first drummer, or David, his brother, on guitar. But I saw the first tour was this tour. Well, there you go, right here. I saw the April Wine tour, Stand Back, which was from 1975, which had like 5 hit singles. And Jerry there he is down there by the cannon down there. And I don't know if he had his head shaved yet. I think he did. I don't know. Some April Wines fans will come on and let me know. But it just changed my life seeing Jerry drum. I'm going, wow. Like when he was doing that thing. Oh my God, I want to be a drummer even more. Richie started me in this. A whole bunch of other drummers did. And then I heard Jerry Mercer drum, and it just completely changed my life. I'm going to wait till a few more people come on. We're going to do the presentation. Please like the video if you like it. We're simulcasting right now on Rock History Canada, our Canadian channel, and Rock History Music, which is our big international channel, which has 130,000 subscribers. Thank you. It pays our bills. Some months barely, because I've said this before. That's why we have a donate to our channel link, because of the income's all over the place. But again, before we get going, I'll show you the only time I interviewed April Wine, though we do have quite a few interviews that we have gotten through the years of April Wine that we will feature in our big April Wine special coming up. Here I am with Jerry Mercer, the gentle giant of April Wine. He showed me how to drum to Say Hello on at the end of the table. It was really cute. And here's Jim Clench, who passed away a few years ago. Miles Goodwin, who just passed away just a few months ago, the leader, the driving force behind April Wine, and just a musical genius, just an unbelievably talented man. The fact that Miles Goodwin had that much talent in one guy, I would have never picked Miles Goodwin to be the lead singer of April Wine. And man, I would have been so wrong. Here's Brian Greenway, who's the only guy left in April Wine. He's kind of helming the band right now. And another nice guy. He was the last interview of the day. And Brian, at the end of the day, basically said, hey, man, do you want to get some tickets to the show tonight? Got me some great tickets. I loved it. I went by myself. I'm pretty sure I went by myself because my wife couldn't go. And it was just unbelievable. So just really, really loved it. I'm going to play you right now our special on Jerry. It's just 5 minutes long, but it basically shows you the history of Jerry Mercer. There's a lot of live clips on here, but I just wanted to tip my hat to Jerry, who's, by the way, one of the nicest human beings. And Jerry, if you see this video, and maybe you will, hopefully some April Wine fans will put this on the April Wine site. And I would love to interview Jerry again. I'd like to circle back and interview all the guys again. I have an interview with, like I said, Jim Clench, which we cannot find. And on the other side of Jim Clench was Miles Goodwin on the other side of the cassette. So I have Brian Greenway. He's on one cassette. I have Jerry Mercer. He's on the other side of the cassette. But unfortunately, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but Jerry had gone through some major medical problems. The drummer, the guy we're tipping our hat to. And basically, and I was writing for a spiritual magazine at the time. He's the only member of April Wine that I didn't talk about music with. For the most part, we talked about spirituality. I'm not a religious guy, but if I find out someone's religious, as a lot of you know, it's important to them, so I'll talk to them about that. I'm more of a kind of a Buddhist spiritual dude. Jerry and I went in depth for 35 minutes talking about spirituality, and I hadn't heard the interview since I got it printed in a magazine I used to write for in Vancouver. It hasn't seen the light of day. No one's heard it. And I'm not playing any clips of it in this thing because we don't talk about April Wine. I don't even think we talked about April Wine once, but the other guys we did. Okay, Mark, I know Jerry was playing around Canada, starting Nature of the Beast. Well, he started with hold on. He started with this album, Electric Jewels. David Henman and Richie Henman, who were the original guitarist, drummer of the band, left at the latter part of the recording of this, which you'll find out. Here's our little tip of the hat to one of the greatest drummers. And there's a quote from Neil Peart about Jerry at the end of this. One of the greatest drummers this country or anybody. I mean, the power, the thunder, the gentle giant, Jerry Mercer. Happy birthday to him. Jerry Mercer, the voice of thunder behind April Wine for so many years. He had a passion for music at a very early age. National audiences first got to know Jerry as a member of the Canadian band Mash McCann, who were formed in Quebec in 1969. The band is best known for their 1970 hit, As the Years Go By. It reached #1 in Canada and also charted in the US and was a big hit in Japan. As the Years Go By was actually written as a novelty song. And though people might not know it by name, if you hear it at least 5 seconds, you'll remember it no matter when you were born. In the summer of 1970, Mash McCann were invited to the Festival Express Concerts, the Transcontinental Train Pop Festival, featuring the Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, the band, Ian and Sylvia, and many more. After the band broke up, there were reunions, most notably featuring Brian Greenway and Steve Lang, who would later join April Wine. In his early days, Jerry Mercer immersed himself with all kinds of music, pop, jazz, blues, rock. Mostly he was dedicated to mastering his art. Jerry, along with guitarist Gary Moffat, joined April Wine in the latter part of the recording of Electric Jewels from April Wine. Electric Jewels, which was started with original drummer Richie Henman and his brother, original guitarist David Henman. Both left before the album was finished. Jerry Mercer was there for all the big hits in the 70s and the 80s. They had 5 hits in 74 and 75 combined, including Ooh What a Night, sung and written by Jim Clench, featuring Mercer's iconic Fireball intro. This picture, according to a website online, shows the train bell, which is really a fire alarm bell for a school. And in his early incarnation of April Wine, again, Electric Jewels going into Stand Back. And songs like Tonight is a Wonderful Time to Fall in Love. In 76, the title song to The Whole World's Going Crazy. And Like a Lover, Like a Song, the ballad. The next year, April Wine released the 50s style ballad, You Won't Dance With Me. By 78, the band was getting international recognition with hits like Roller, and that continued in 1979 with I Like to Rock. Arguably their biggest hit, at least in the US, was the ballad Just Between You and Me, from their biggest album, The Nature of the Beast. For another perspective, now here's a list of the most played songs as of today on Spotify from April Wine. You'll notice Jerry Mercer played drums on 8 out of 10 of the tunes. Richie Henman, their original drummer, was with them from 69 to 73, and he played on two of their earliest hits. Their own version of Hot Chocolate's You Could Have Been a Lady, and the Elton John Bernie Taupin cover Bad Side of the Moon. Richie Henman will be featured in a very long interview on this channel in the next couple of weeks. So we certainly haven't forgotten about him. Or his brother David Henman, or their cousin Jim Henman, all coming up on this channel. As far as the albums, Jerry Mercer was on the big April Wine projects, like Stand Back in 75, The Whole World's Going Crazy the following year, which went to #1 on the Canadian Albums chart, and was the first in Canadian history to have platinum advance sales orders. There was First Glance in 78, Harder, Faster the next year, and their biggest, as mentioned, The Nature of the Beast in 1981. His technical skills got him recognition across the country and around the world. Those powerful nuances behind the kit gave the band depth and another dimension, which many fans will agree set them apart internationally. Now, beyond his drumming skills, everyone knows Jerry Mercer is just a down-to-earth, really nice guy. By 1984, April Wine was winding down, at least for that incarnation. Their most popular lineup, guitarist Gary Moffett and Mercer, left the band. He would come back to drum for April Wine between 92 and 2008. He's no longer with the group. Jerry Mercer also co-created a band called Jericho Band with former April Wine guitarist Gary Moffett. As mentioned, he was in the lineup between 73 and 84. Jericho Band, it also featured another April Wine alumni, Breen LeBeouf, who was with April Wine between 2007 and 2011. In Rhythm Magazine UK, March 2014, Neil Peart said, "Two unforgettable Canadian examples were Skip Prokop of Lighthouse and Jerry Mercer with Mash McCann. Jerry's live solo in Letter from Zambia had all the primal power and drama the title suggests, and seems to tell a story. Decades later, their influence remains in my ideal of what a solo ought to be." 85. Like, wow. Happy birthday to a guy that influenced not only me, but a lot of other performers. There's my Stand Back t-shirt. The first full album that Jerry is there. I'm backwards here. This is Miles Goodwin, Gary Moffett, Jim Clench. So 2 of the 4 are no longer with us. That's why, I'm looking at Jim Clench, who sang Wood a Night, and I'm thinking of Miles Goodwin, who was the undisputed leader of this band, who sang so many of the hits, musical genius. Just the fact that Miles could come up and they had a hit, from You Could Have Been a Lady onward. Fast Train off their first album was a minor hit. But continually, remember, when we talk about one-hit wonders, I'm the guy who always says, listen, man, I'd love to be a one-hit wonder. That's amazing. Out of all the groups in the world trying to get a spot on the radio, you have a hit. Not only a song on the radio, but you have a hit. A top 40 hit. Miles Goodwin, bang, 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 one after another. Who was the drummer behind that? For the most part, it was Jerry Mercer. And before that was, and I always tip my hat to Richie because he was the first, early on, one of the guys who made me drum. And then I heard Jerry and I went, wow, these guys just keep getting better and better. So April Wine was it for me. And I want to thank all the folks who just tuned in and gave a little tip of the hat to a man who, certainly deserves it. And as mentioned earlier, we're going to, and by the way, this is the mic we're trying to replace. We're getting a SM7B microphone by Shure. We're trying to raise money for it. So if you want to help out, there's a link in the description. We're trying, it's an expensive mic. It's like a $600 microphone. So meanwhile, I got this for $100 and it sounds that way. So if the sound was dipping, and I did put a modulator on it, a limiter on it to bring up the sound, it was a lot worse. Hey, Mark, I have no hits. One would be, I have no hits. One would be awesome. Mark, you got it. I say this when people go around saying, oh yeah, you were a one-hit wonder. Oh, what? Come on. but April wine consistently, one after another. Now, this is for the folks who might not know. Hold on. Let me just humor me here for a second. Hear that? God. Let me just tell you. Um, let me just. This is April wine. A lot of Miles Goodwin, but April wine in the 70s. Let me just read this to you. If you're an American, and we have, rock history music is 90% American audience, which we love you. But let me try to get into this here. It's slow. It's very slow. Hold on. Just give me a second. By the way, humor yourselves with a nice picture of me and Jerry Mercer from 2000. And there's Jim Clench, who passed away a few years ago. Miles Goodwin, who just died a few months ago. And Brian Greenway, who is helming April Wine these days. He's the guy who's basically keeping it going. Okay, hold on. Let me just get rid of that. Okay. So, let me just, like I said, humor me just for a second. Here we go. This is April Wine. Just so that you know, Fast Train was a minor hit in 1971 from their debut album. That's the album that Jim Henman was on, and Jim's going to be Jim's been a guest, I think, 4 times on our channel. In 72, they had You Could Have Been a Lady, which was a number 2 hit in Canada, 32 in the US. Bad Side of the Moon by Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Then Drop Your Guns. By 73, they had another hit. Lady Run, Lady Hide, which was a ballad. Weeping Widow, which was a rocker. Electric Jewels, which was sort of in between. By 74, they had I'm on Fire for You, Baby, which was sort of a single by itself. Then Stand Back, which was a huge album in Canada. That's the t-shirt I'm wearing. From Stand Back, I Wouldn't Want to Lose Your Love. Tonight Is a Wonderful Time to Fall in Love. Come Hear the Band, and Ooh What a Night. That was the Jim Clench one. The title song to A Whole World's Going Crazy in 76, followed by Gimme Love, which I think is the best song on the Whole World's Going Crazy. It's the first song on the Whole World's Going Crazy. I love it. Like a Lover, Like a Song followed. It shows that it wasn't hit, but it got lots of airplay across the country. While it should have been a Miles Goodwin solo album, Forever Now, was released after that. The title song was not a hit, but got a lot of airplay. You Won't Dance With Me, which was a song that Miles wrote when he was very, very young, became a surprise hit on that album, which he played in concert all the time. In America, Rock and Roll is a Vicious Game got a little bit of airplay, and then Roller got a lot of airplay. Harder, Faster, Say Hello, what a great song, 79, I Like to Rock, and then the big one, Nature of the Beast in 81, with Just Between You and Me, Sign of the Gypsy Queen, Enough is Enough came from Power Play after that, and the band started going down. Miles Goodwin has told us, my cohort, Steve Burgess, who I'm interviewing on Thursday, the guy who gave me all these interviews, we're finally getting out. He had told, in 88, when Miles released his solo album, Miles told my friend Steve Burgess that he really didn't want to do rock anymore. He wanted to do slower ballad stuff, and the rest of the band wanted to do rock. And he had said he'd rather go to the dentist every day than go through what he went through in the latter part of the first incarnation, that first iteration of April Wine, even though that version went through a few lineup changes as well. Brian Briggs, good evening from Camrose, Alberta. Hey, you're in Camrose. I'm in Calgary. Really enjoying your show. God, Camrose. 96 K-Light. Isn't CFCW from Camrose, if I remember correctly? Because I worked for CFCW. Not for them. I worked for K-Light, which was owned by CFCW. Mark Burchett in the early 80s. Ya Better Love Me, LOL. Mr. Fulton Mraz. Last Thursday was my 25th birthday on April 25th. There you go. Happy birthday. So thanks for everyone who tuned in today. I'm going to make sure that I'm still on. That's the thing about live, when you're going on live. Someone once told me, does it intimidate you going on live? I was in radio for 41 years. Not really, no. The good thing about being in radio for so many years, it does help when someone gives you a stupid comment, like, you're stupid, I hate your face, or something like that. That's going to happen. I always tell new YouTubers, that's okay. Some people aren't going to like what you do or what you cover. I love Jerry Mercer, so I get on here and I want to celebrate one of the nicest human beings I ever interviewed. There's the man. Look at that smile. You can just tell. You can't always tell, but you can just tell by looking at this guy. He's a good guy. Jim Clench, who we lost a few years ago, was a really nice guy. The voice, the inspiration behind April Wine, that's Miles Goodwin, who died a few months ago. And there's Brian Greenway, who's helming April Wine. And this is what I looked like in 2000. I kind of looked like I worked in a library. Anyway, thanks for everyone who came on tonight. I appreciate it. I'm going to be. Brian says CFCW. Yeah. Yeah, CFCW. I worked for K-Light, which was owned by CFCW in 80. I started my radio career there. CFCW was in Camrose, but we were in Edmonton, and in 83, I was lucky enough to start in a major market radio station, which was the School of Hard Knocks, working for Len Tucson. And if you're from Camrose, chances are you know who Len Tucson is. And I've interviewed Len recently. And that big reel-to-reel that you see behind me in a lot of my interviews, that Studer reel-to-reel, which is worth a crazy amount of money, I got to get it fixed. And then I eventually got to sell it because I've transferred all my reel-to-reel tapes, all my interviews. So there you go. Brian Biggs, thanks for coming on. CFCW, man, it brings back memories. Thanks, everyone, for going on. If you want to support the channel, there are links to PayPal where you can make a donation right at the very top of the description of this and every one of our videos. You can join our Patreon, get early access to our videos. But for the most part, subscribe, like our videos, share them. Share this on the April Wine groups. Share this on the Canadian music groups. I really appreciate that, and it makes a difference to our channel. But hey, man, take good care of yourself. It's John Bowden. It's rock history music.